One, two, one, two. Free to go? So, hey everyone, my name is Marco. I am a contributor to the SSB DAO, and we are building a DVT solution, and basically we are trying to decentralize Ethereum staking. What I'll be talking to you today is DVT as a catalyst for LSD development. So let's get started. So first I'll be talking about what is the current state of LSD market, withdrawals, how will they change the game, what is the hard problem of LSD, how DVT addresses it, what DVT does not address, and how do we solve this LSD issue. So the current state of LSDs on Ethereum. Currently there is around 17K or 17,000 ETH staked, which is 14% of Ethereum, of the outstanding Ether. And depending on who you ask, like the whole staking pie is expected to grow 100 to 200%. Currently, there is around 40% of this ETH is staked in LSDs, as you can see in the graph, and that is expected to grow 50 to 100%. Obviously, these numbers are not exact, but here the idea is because of the high or of the much better experience of staking when you use the LSD experience, it's much better than regular one because you can use it in DeFi, and we have seen it in the past. So we are expecting that staking the LSDs will make roughly 60 to 80% of all ETH. So that would be the expected growth of LSD ETH of 25 to 42K ETH. Now, if you look at the graph, you can see that it's right now kind of a winner-take-all effect. You have 77% has Lido, then 16 Coinbase, and Rocket Pool is the third, and it only has 3%. So there is a huge power law distribution there. Now, what are the barriers of entry, or why does the market look like it does? One is a large capital requirement, and the other one is the need to actually run the Ethereum nodes. With DeFi, you can. How many of you are familiar with Ethereum staking? How many of you own LSDs? Good. Not very experienced in LSD, but I'll walk you through it. So the capital requirement and need to run Ethereum node. What do I mean by that? LSD, I will try to persuade you that LSD currently is a stagnant market. Not in the sense that LSDs are not growing, but in the sense that the market share is not really changing much, and there are large barriers of entry. And you could have seen it on the graph, but the stake in any protocol is never going down, because before withdrawals, you can't actually move the stake. So the second hard problem why it's very almost impossible for new players to really compete with Lido's STETH, it's the inability to hold the peg. We saw it even with Lido, that is orders of magnitude larger than any other staking providers. When the Luna collapsed last year, the peg went down 10%, which basically means if your LSD doesn't hold peg, you can't really be used as a collateral in DeFi. Thus, there is no borrowing, you can't really safely borrow against it, and that defeats the purpose of the whole LSD experience. So there is no leverage, you can't use it in the DeFi casino, so that's no fun. So yeah, that's the problem, but luckily this problem will be basically solved with withdrawals, or solved to the major extent. Stakes can be moved, but more importantly, every time peg is disturbed, there is an arbitrage opportunity that can be actually taken. So anytime the peg would falter, anyone could buy LSD of the market and redeem it for actual ETH. So after withdrawals, we'll be able to hold peg better, and even with much smaller LSDs. That means borrowing against your LSD. That means you could do leverage staking and play your favorite DeFi casino. Now let's focus on DVT actually. So the first problem of large capital requirements, let's say it will be solved with withdrawals. But how does the LSD look and how does DVT fit into the picture? So the actors, because they're a bit confusing, so let's define it. Validator is not a person. Validator is an Ethereum node holding 32 ETH. And it's defined by its validator key. An operator, in the example of staking pools, is actually somebody who is running the validators for you. And a staker is somebody who, if I want to stake, I'm a staker, and I basically give my funds to validator, as you can see it in the picture. No, I give my funds to an operator, and the operator is running validators. So now LSD pool 101. How does every LSD pool work? What is the basic structure? So you want to get some LSD. So you deposit ETH, and you will get back LSD. Now the ETH is in the pool. The pool needs to stake the ETH somehow. So, and the builders of the pool, they are usually not, it's not the same person. The builders of the pool are Web3 developers, and to operate and basically run the infrastructure and operate Ethereum validators is a different skill set and a different job. And this is delegated from the pool to some other third party. So, and this is a hard problem, how to safely delegate this running of staking validators. So let's look at the main approaches that are used. And we can reframe the question. Basically, how to ensure operator good behavior. Because we are giving, or the pool is giving the operators funds, and they need to make sure that they will not get slashed and the funds will be safe. So Lido is using a trust-based model. Basically, they have a small set of operators. Currently, it is 29, which are professional operators, and they are fully trusted by Lido. If anything happens, yeah, that's not a good thing. But the overall idea, it's a trusted set. Then Rocket Pool has a trustless set of operators. Anybody can become an operator, but to ensure good behavior, operator in Rocket Pool needs to post collateral. Right now, it is 50% of the whole validator, which is a huge amount. Like maybe if you have some ETH, you can earn some additional ETH. But it is not really a scalable solution. If you wanted to run operators for Rocket Pool, you would need to own huge amounts of ETH just to spin up a lot of validators. So basically, this is the problem, and these are the current solutions. And we are working on a magic bullet, basically. The DVT 101, what is DVT in the first place? Or what is the basic structure? Defined by its validator key. What DVT does, Can you hear me? Okay, great. So, as I was saying, you have the validator which is defined by its validator key, and this key is split into multiple partial keys. Let's have an example, and let's have 4 keys. The important part is that each partial key is controlled by a different operator. So, and you can't really produce a valid signature just from one key. So every duty, every signing, every attestation needs to be a consensus of the operators. So let's have an example. Alice, Bob, Charlie, and Dylan are operators. They are running a validator together, and to perform any validator duty or to propose a block, 3 of them need to agree that the duty is valid. So what are the implications of this? So the implication is that this drastically reduces trust in any single operator. Basically, if one of the operators is Byzantine or loses his or her key or basically signs something that should not be signed, nothing happens. And this is because there needs to be a consensus on the duty. So one is signing something else. The other, the 3 that we had in an example, are signing on the correct data. Nothing happens. So this basically not removes, but drastically reduces the trust in any single operator, and it minimizes the slashing and downtime risk. And it improves the resiliency of the whole system by allowing basically every validator now can be run with using different data centers or different regions, different geographical regions, etc., etc. Different setups, you can be running different nodes. Now, what does it not solve? There is also an important point, because DVT on itself is only what I was saying. It's splitting the key into multiple parts. And we have 3 important areas that it does not address or does not address fully. Coordination. How to coordinate between operators and stakers without introducing single points of failure. This is not entirely something new, because stakers and operators need to coordinate even before this, even if you are not using DVT. But we want to have a trustless system and not have this as a single point of failure. And also you have additional coordination that operators that are operating a single validator need to coordinate with each other. So you have these coordination problems. Then you have a performance. What if an operator does not perform or becomes malicious? As I was saying before, this is not as much of a deal as it is without DVT, as there will be no slashing and performance may not be affected. But if we don't want to have a trusted set or require collateral, we must be able to solve on the network level the non-performant validators. The problem of this. Basically, this is a problem that would always arise if you have trustless operators and you don't have any stick to punish them. The last one is collusion. What prevents third parties from coercing the whole clusters or compelling operators to collude? So our solution, what we are building, it's DVT network. And it's basically made of a set of smart contracts that is used for coordination and a multi-cluster operator network, which is DVT based. So coordination. In our design, the stakers and operators are coordinating, leveraging Ethereum smart contracts. So basically what happens practically is a staking pool or whoever wants to run a staker. They just pick the operators, they need to deposit some SSV, so because the payments are also handled by the smart contract, and they basically just do a smart contract transaction, and then I'll go back, and then basically the network observes the smart contracts, they get all the information from there, and they can pick the duties, dynamically create a cluster, and start operating the validator. Now, performance. As I've said, since we don't really have any strong carrot for the operators, we must solve the issue of performance. Like, the naive approach is whenever you have one of the cluster, one of the operators that is non-performant, you could, after withdrawals, basically exit the validator and re-enter it with different operator set. But this is not obviously ideal. You don't want to all the time just be, or not all the time, but even if it happens once in a time, you don't want to be exiting a validator and then re-entering it, because it's costly. It's costly based on time. You need to pay transaction, etc., etc. So in DVT network, in our solutions, stakers can change operators dynamically, and this is a big deal. So you don't really need to, even if you want to change from whatever reason the operator, because you see he's not performing up to the par, you can basically just do a contract call and replace it, or replace him or her with another operator. Now, collusion. Important thing is, in SSB network, validator clusters are not known in advance. Why is this important? Or why is it important to have dynamic operator clusters? You can have a simpler design by requiring operators to coordinate in front and create clusters. And basically, but let me give you an example to really illustrate this. Let's say we have a smaller network, we have 100 operators in the network, but if you require operators to create clusters, they would basically, you would have smaller amount of clusters than you have operators in the system. So let's say we have 100 validators and they would combine themselves into 20, 30 clusters. The problem is, if the clusters are formed on the basis of operators themselves, now it's much harder to coerce or to influence the whole cluster than one operator, but it's not impossible. And since you have smaller amount of clusters than you would have individual operators, you have larger honeypots that are held with each cluster. So it is a big deal for stakers to be able to pick additional, or not additional, to pick specific operators, and this allows, this makes the network much more heterogeneous. Basically, you can see in the Network Explorer that this cluster has very many validators, and you can basically just choose different 4 operators, or just 2 of the 4 operators could be different, and you are creating a new cluster, or a new cluster is created specifically for you. So let me recap how we are solving the hard problem. Lido is a trust-based solution. They are using trusted operator set for running the validator. Rocket Pool is collateral-based, and they require operators to post collateral. And the secret LSD sauce that we have done is the DVT network-based solution. And it allows us to use trustless operator set without collateral. So let me recap. How do we get to the LSD revolution? We have withdrawals. This will allow for new players to start competing for the existing stake. They will also allow small LSDs to hold the peg, thus be usable in DeFi and start to be compatible with larger players. DVT then reduces trust in single operators because you are splitting, not splitting operators, you are splitting the validators. It also introduces some coordination and collusion issues, which we then address in the SSV network. I've explained how we address the issues that are either not solved or are raised by DVT. And basically, also SSV allows for trustless state delegation without collateral. This is the important thing. It is capital efficient, meaning operators do not need to post collateral, and it is able to handle non-performing or malicious operators, and it supports large trustless operator set. Also, anybody can join the operator set, earn rewards, earn for their services, and they don't need to ask anyone. And because it's a network, the performance of all the operators can be shown and can be tracked in time. So basically, after we launch and after withdrawals are enabled, you will be able to start earning as an operator additional rewards and build what is the word? Build reputation. Yeah. So what does this allow for? SSV Network allows devs to focus really on building Web3 applications and not really need to care about how the staking is actually handled. And it is handled in a decentralized way. You can think of it, it's like if you are doing a Web2 website, you need some backend. So you are using AVS for the backend. We are doing kind of the same thing for Web3 applications. We are basically the backend for your staking application, but we are doing it in a trustless and permissionless way. So, and this also allows DeFi protocols to stake ETH directly. So, the punchline is SSV Network lets builders focus on creating the best LSD experience for their customers. Now, we are funding your LSD experience since 2022 with either grants program or ecosystem fund. I would be actually the person to talk to if you are thinking about building some kind of a staking application and are looking for funding. I can help you with getting a grant or connect you with the right people to get funding via ecosystem grant. And you can see who is in the SSV ecosystem. You can see it's already quite vibrant, even though we are not on the mainnet yet, but that will be this year. We are talking about the staking pool, so one of the big players are Stakestar, Anchor, already building with us, Swell Network. Also, Lido is running pilots, and in their V2, they'll also be deploying DVT solutions, and we are working with them, and we are also working with Stakewise. So, and come to meet us at booth here. We have a booth on this floor, right there, right at the end. Okay, so that would be everything from my side. So enjoy a trustless LSD experience with your friends. This is contact on me. You can directly contact me if you are thinking about building some kind of staking apps. And check out our website at ssv.network. You can join our Discord, Twitter, whatever else. I have a little bit time for questions. If somebody wants to ask something. Okay, so thank you very much.